Well, Wake Up Cameron Dobbs has a lot of unique attributes to it. One of the biggest uniqueness that I like about it is that it's a local playwright. It's somebody here in St. Louis. Secondly, it's set in modern times. These are everyday people having everyday conversations, everyday realities, everyday talk. It's a kind of a study on different relationships that everybody has. Relationships between husband and wife, relationships between mother and son, relationships between mother and daughter-in-law, relationships that are co-workers, newly formed relationships where maybe there's a romantic endeavor in there and maybe there's not. Maybe it just becomes friendship. It's all tangled up in this one little nice package, and Steve wrote a beautiful play, and that I wanted to portray it. I wanted to see it. All centers around a birthday party that Cameron's brother is throwing for him. So Cameron's turning 30. He thought Cameron wanted it to be just a nice, pleasant evening with his brother and his brother's wife, dinner, relaxed, calm. But then mayhem ensues. What happens is his brother prepares a dinner that he can't eat. His sister-in-law invites a co-worker over to try to set him up on a date. And to top it all off, his mother, who's rather overbearing, shows up for dinner as well. So now this nice relaxed birthday dinner has turned into pretty much Cameron's nightmare. I've known Steve for a while now. We've known each other for a few years. It's almost like, I guess, 6 years is what it would be now. Interesting thing about Steve is that both him and I were living in Los Angeles at the same time, but didn't know each other. We both moved back to St. Louis the same year, met each other that year when we came back, doing another play, and it was an instant friendship. I mean, he's a great guy. He's a really amazing playwright. I mean, the plays he writes bring out a natural emotion to the human experience, if you will. He has a real strong sense of what makes a good story. And that's important for a playwright. That being said, he's a great storyteller. I love just listening to him. We're good friends, and I got to talk with him just a couple weeks ago about the play, about Wake Up Cameron Dobbs. And we talked about the characters and what we're looking for, and I asked him some questions and some direction, because if I have the playwright right there, I'm going to use it. I use all the tools I can, so if I have the playwright, I'm going to ask him to, collaborate with it and ask him questions and reach out to him probably during rehearsals and while we're doing stuff to make sure that I'm staying true to his story. Because in the end, it's his story that we are telling. So I want to be sure that we tell the right story. Initial answer would be to see something that probably mirrors their own life. A lot of times you go to the theater and you see something, about dukes or kings or even something about somebody in Britain somewhere in the 18th century. Well, these characters are about you and me. These characters are normal, everyday people. There's something real about it. And I've used this before. Theater is just live TV. Well, this is kind of live reality TV. And yeah, it's scripted, it's dramatized, of course. But there's something that everybody sees in themselves when they see these characters. You could walk down the street and see Cameron Dobbs. You could know his brother. You could know his mother. It could be your mother. So these are people that we interact with every day. And it's kind of one of the cool things about theater in general, and especially this show, is that it's a mirror to our world. We get to view ourselves, which people don't do that often. And it's kind of the benefit of live theater. Kind of be themselves. And I know that's easy to say and hard to do, especially in an audition. Hard to be yourself when you're trying to be a character at the same time. But the cool thing about this show is that the way it's written is it's a comedy, but it's a real comedy. I mean, the jokes that are made are jokes that everybody would make on an everyday basis. Sarcasm, little jabs to each other, two brothers arguing with each other. Like, it's an everyday kind of very, very conversational. So there's no reason to put on anything extra or big or overly dramatic when you're upset about something. It's really just two people talking. So when I'm in auditions, I'm going to be looking for people and see how they interact with each other and how relaxed they can be. Easily said, hard to do at the audition, but I think that's what makes it more of a challenge. That's what kind of makes it fun. That's what I myself as an actor enjoy about auditions, especially with plays like this, where I get to be image of myself. I'm not putting on a character. I'm trying to be myself, and there's a calm to that and a relaxation to that I need to bring to it, especially when we go to an audition. We're nervous, it's a nerve-wracking thing. So I guess the answer to the question after a long-winded response is relax. It's gonna be fine. Here's the thing. In my opinion, as a director, if you're an actor, you can play any age, and anybody between the ages of 20 to 40 can fit within a 30-year-old age range if you look the part and act the part. If you have a total baby face, then you're probably not going to get the part as the older mother. So there's some reality in place there, but I wouldn't be discouraged, especially since what an audition is an opportunity to act. It's the chance to come out and do the thing you love. And you get the part, great, you get to do it some more. You don't get the part, oh well, you'll go to another audition and act there. And just keep going and going and going. That's the joy of it. So I would basically say, don't be discouraged. If you don't get the part, it just means you didn't get this part. It doesn't mean the part's not out there. You just didn't get this one. You get the chance to be in the audience for a cool show. You don't know what it's going to be in the end. You have to discover it. And for me, my approach to directing is that if I need to have a clear vision of where I want it to go, but I also need to be able to break that if it starts going somewhere else. If I see something that's better later down the line, or somebody walks in that doesn't fit the type that was in my head, but they're perfect, I'm going to change my mind. I have to be flexible with it, because it's not fair to someone who comes in and they just knock it out of the park, and I say, yeah, but I didn't want someone that tall. I'm okay to be wrong. I admit that I'm wrong sometimes, and so I do everything I can to try not to have any kind of predisposition on who I'm going to cast or what the character type is. I need to see it, and I need to see people working with each other. So at auditions, I guess, for everybody that's listening out there, my biggest advice would be just talk to each other at the audition. Just be normal people and try to be yourself. Because who you are, totally good enough. Totally good enough. I don't need more, just need you.